Naruto, 10 anime abilities that are just like a jutsu. Jutsu techniques can range anywhere from illusions to fire manipulation, and in some cases, they might resemble other anime abilities. Many jutsu of the Naruto universe are exciting and compelling, though they aren't particularly unique. Demonstrations of similar abilities are ubiquitous throughout different anime, with some skills sharing striking resemblances to their shinobi counterparts with only minor variations. To determine exactly how much they have in common and how prevalent jutsu-like skills are seen in other stories, it is important to analyze many diverse examples. In doing so, we can better appreciate how the ninja world has inspired or stolen from other tales and in what specific ways. 10. Obito's Kamui Mirio's permeation share ethereal origins. My Hero Academia. The similarities between Obito's Kamui and Mirio's permeation quirk are striking. Both allow their respective fighter to become intangible before adversity and provide a high amount of defensive potential. Simultaneously, neither can harm their foes while in this state and must become corporeal to do so. However, there are marginal differences. Not only does the Akatsuki member's jutsu provide a pocket dimension, but it was also much easier to master than his heroic counterpart's ability, which almost drowned him as a child when used incorrectly. 9. Ban's regeneration is similar to the Edo Tensei 7 Deadly Sins. The properties of Ban's regeneration and the Edo Tensei are profoundly similar. Both of them provide their host with endless regeneration regardless of injuries, but are vulnerable to attacks against the soul, whether being destroyed by demons or sealed away by counterparts. Additionally, the Fox Sin is frequently referred to as Undead Ban, furthering the uncanny commonalities between himself and the ninja created from the Edo Tensei. Both powers also have forbidden origins, either from Elaine's sacred foundation or the darkest recesses of Konoha's libraries. 8. Shadow clones are as durable numerous as Morel's Deep Purple Hunter x Hunter. Morel's Deep Purple Nin ability allowed him to produce an abundant number of opaque smoke figures. Despite their wavering physiology, they were capable of harming their adversaries and were primarily intended to disorient their target, considering that they were equally brittle and easy to defeat. This creates a strong resemblance with the shadow clone technique most prolifically used by Naruto Uzumaki but invented by Tobirama. The boundless stamina of both characters furthers their similarities, especially given how they choose to employ their respective powers in combat. 7. Shikamaru's shadow possession is similar to Pride's shadow-based attacks. Fullmetal Alchemist. Although the tactics of Shikamaru and Pride aren't exactly identical, the nature of their abilities is stunningly similar. Both prefer ideal environments, either flat ground for Nara or dark rooms for the homunculus, and use long, sable silhouettes in order to attack their opponents. Pride's spear-like appendages are especially similar to the shadow stitching and strangulation techniques, as proven through his encounter with Riza Hawkeye and Alphonse Elric. Although the villain's darkness is strong, the shinobi understands how to utilize his assets with much more fluidity and intelligence. 6. Zabuza's Water Dragon is similar to Magellan's Poison Dragon. One Piece. The Water and Poison Dragons were techniques used by Zabuza and Magellan, respectively. They have similar size and explosive force, capable of moving independently from their host once cast. In addition to being strikingly visually similar, the power was employed exclusively with offense in mind. Its only distinction was that Magellan's Devil Fruit provided a pernicious venom that would affect its target long after the initial impact of the dragon. In fact, Emporio Ivankov posited that few were capable of surviving it, and it cannot be copied by a Sharingan. 5. Choji's super expansion is similar to a Titan transformation attack on Titan. While the cause behind the transformations of Choji and a Titan shifter may be different, the results are very much the same. They are turned into giants amongst men that use tremendous physical force in order to overwhelm opponents and protect allies. Each warrior has unusually high durability in this state. Whether through a Titan's inherent healing properties or Choji's talent to become a human boulder and nearly impervious to projectiles. Further, both forms can only be maintained for a finite amount of time and are restricted by their user's endurance. 4. The mud wall is similar to earth-bending avatar. The Earth Release's most common ability is the mud wall, a typically defensive maneuver used to halt the attacks of adversaries and preserve the user and their comrades. It was primarily practiced by Kakashi Hatake, Hiruzen Sarutobi, and Jirobo. While earth-bending has a multitude of purposes, it was often employed in the same way in the Avatar series, especially proven through Aang's final battle against Phoenix King Ozai, where a rocky shell spelled the difference between life and death. 3. Sayura Minato both had spatial manipulating abilities. Akame ga Kill. Sayura and Minato both had spatial manipulation abilities that rendered them remarkably similar fighters. The former's imperial arms allowed him to teleport himself or his targets to wherever he marked. Similarly, the latter was able to manifest wherever he had left one of his jutsu tags. While Minato is much faster than Sayura and a more formidable fighter, the villain demonstrated a greater aptitude with his ability. He was able to teleport one of Night Raid's most seasoned warriors into the vacuum of space, only to be defeated there himself. 2. Burn's ignition ability is similar to the Fireball Jutsu Fire Force. Leonard Burn's ignition ability allowed him to unleash fiery explosions from any part of his body. While not exactly identical, this was much similar to the Fireball Jutsu, a technique practiced mostly by the Sarutobi and Uchiha clans. Both attacks are almost exclusively used to overwhelm adversaries with blistering offensive force and can be harnessed from unconventional points of the host's body such as the mouth. This makes them as deadly as they are unpredictable to enemies who come ill-prepared. 1. Hamon shares similarities with Sage Mode. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Hamon and Sage Mode function in fundamentally the same way. Both are oriented around the breathing, calmness, and control of their host to imbue them with physical power that can be turned against their enemies. They were also primarily used by their series' main protagonists Jonathan and Naruto, respectively. Despite this, a few differences distinguish the powers from one another. Hamon can be conducted into inanimate objects and kills undead targets almost instantly, while Sage Mode requires perfect stillness before it can be effectively weaponized.